Well, hi guys, welcome once again to me, Fisher Rob, and the Novice Angler channel. I've been trying to get this blooming video done for ages, but it's been absolutely manic at my end, so I do apologise. I did say I'd get it out around the 15th, 16th or so of Jan, and here we are, 21st. So, I'm sure there's loads of people out there just absolutely chomping at the bit to find the result of the competition, and I will get to that. That's towards the end of the video, so if you want to just have a quick look, zoom through the other end, I don't mind. But as I always say, my little videos are constructive, so I'm going to show you on this video how to do the D.RIG. Now the D.RIG, I'll cut a couple of pictures in here and there for you as I go along. It's a nice simple little setup. Can be a little bit fiddly just to create on the hook, but nothing too terrible. But anyway, let's get ourselves started. So you're talking again the usual sort of about 18 inches or so of line, just to get yourself going there. And always have a little drum, as you know, of spare line there, and do that. And the first thing you want to really do with this is to make yourself a loop. So you're going to make yourself a good middle-sized loop, and you'll have on it a little fleck of line, one end very shortish, and then the main loop going around underneath there between finger and thumb. Then you'll introduce your hook. This one I'm using for the example is a quarter, number 6, and you'll put the curved end of the hook towards your finger and thumb. So have that in there, like so. Should be able to see that there, or it might be on the blue. I don't know. You might be able to see it. But then what you're going to do, you're going to take the leading edge of the line, leading edge here, and you're going to wind it round the shank, trapping that little sliver of line there. And don't forget, I've said this before, on the top of the hooks there with the wire, how it's made, the eye of the hook, you can have a little sharp edge there, so always start from the back of the hook, not the front, and less chance of you actually getting a impromptu little line cut there and losing a fish on your hook setup. So for the D.RIG, take the leading edge of the loop and you're going around the back, and you're talking probably, I don't know, let me have a little look, probably about 6 turns, I would think, something like that. Okay, so so do that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so then once you've done the 6, hold your line and you're going to pull on that little extra sliver of line. Slowly but surely pull that through. It will close the loop around the hook and give you a sort of a knotless knot situation on your actual hook itself. Then you can pull from the other end as well, and there you go. That's the first part of your D.RIG set up. So it's a simple way of doing that. Oh, my old computer shut down. Wake up, I need the extra light. So then you've got to position that on your hook. So I tend to slide it down with my nail to where I need on the shank of the hook, and then tighten it up again. So that's that. So now we need to trim off the excess, which would have been the piece which was a little sliver, which is now somewhat longer because obviously you've got all the loop pulled out nice and tight there. So what I tend to do with this is to cut it back and then burn the little stub. So don't quite cut all of it, just give yourself a little piece left. Right, once that's trimmed back, then just burn that back, a little sliver, careful not to do too much on the main bit of line there. and dab it back. So that's nice and secure. Slide that a little bit further down, maybe to just before the curve of the actual hook itself. So again, I don't know if you'll see from there, but that it's just about here, just past the level of the point, if you like, just a little further round. So that's why you should pop that. Now what do? We need to pop on some sort of connector for the bait. So I usually use a micro swivel. There they are there, quite nutty little things, take about 20 pound of weight, so they're quite strong chaps. And if you pop that on the line, slide that down, and then what you're going to do is feed the end of the line through the eye of the hook. And don't forget, always back to front, gives a good kicking angle. Slide that through there, and that's going to start to make the D shape that we want, and it's what gives the hook or rig its name. So once you're happy with where that's located and the sort of size of the D that you want, I'm just going to turn it round because my knot's twisted slightly. That's better. And then you're going to pinch some of the line, hold it down onto the shank. So there we go. So it's pushed down along the shank there, and you're going to do a simple knotless knot. So again, from the back, you're going to do 7 or 8 turns, or 6 or 7 turns, however many you like. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold that nice and tight, and then you're going to go back down through the eye again. If you see a funny change, it's probably me cutting the video. Oh no, it went through second time, that's good. So put that through, nice, or knotless knot. Don't forget your hook puller. Cool to do a cracking little hook puller, ergonomic and everything, so it really sits nicely in the hand. Very good for tightening up your knots. And then you should be left with your swivel in this case, or a rig ring if you want to use that, on the actual hook. Try and hold it correctly like that, and with a bit of luck you should see that. So that will show you the hook, the D shape underneath, and the swivel. And of course the swivel's there because you haven't got the standard hair on this sort of rig. It's a D.RIG, hasn't got the normal hair going up, etc. You put your bait on, so you put your swivel there so that you can then wind that into the bait, or you can use, of course, the cauda floss. Very good tying on system. You just thread that through there, give yourself a couple of strands of floss, and then with a baiting needle hook that through your bait, pop it out the other side and tie it off as a knot. And then that will sit literally like that underneath the bait, so you can see that absolutely fine under the bait there, and presents the hook almost in a position where it's ready to dig into the lip of the fish. Again, by using a swivel, I don't know again if you can see it, but you can actually turn the line and swivel the hook around, so it doesn't matter which way the fish actually spits that out, the hook will pivot and immediately catch on the lip or the side of the mouth. So the D.RIG gives you just that slightly different sort of arrangement, presentation of the hook and the bait. So if you're using a pop-up, it will just hang there nicely. It can pivot if any of the fish swim by and it gets a bit of wafted around. It's not a problem, because that pop-up will just pop back up again and it will be perfectly presented, ready to engage once the fish takes the bait. Okay, other end of the D.RIG, very simple. Obviously you just make yourself your loop, or you can put another swivel on the other end, however you arrange it to do a quick change to your main line. But that's your D.RIG anyway, so don't forget, first of all, make yourself a loop and introduce the hook with the curve of it towards your finger and thumb, whichever way you're going to do it, right or left-handed. The little sliver of line, just keep that uppermost and use the big loop to wind round the shank, and then use that small sliver just to pull, and that'll tighten up that loop, and that sets up your first sort of knot. Position that onto the hook, and then once that's positioned, then you get yourself the line from the other, you cut down the excess first of all, just burn it back, then you get the other bit of line from the other end, pop that down through the eye, create yourself a nice D shape, pinch a bit of that D shape, and then do your knotless knot as normal, tighten that right up, and then that is pretty much ready to go with your little bait fitted to the swivel with some floss or whatever. So that's your D.RIG. Right, quickly, where are we? Yep, fishy story, that's the one. Well, here we are, competition time. Now, don't forget I told you about the zig rigs, that lovely floating line, the dissolvable pellets, good selection of floats. I've got about 20 floats here going out to the winner of this competition, and of course that lovely beautiful flexible Paolo wood float. What a beautiful little float that is. So all of that going up to you, Mike Skinner up in Derby. Well done, competition winner. And here's your little story. I just want to tell you an adventure I had when I went fishing at a local beauty spot not far from where I live. I was trying to look down on the stretch of river I was thinking of fishing to get an idea of where some of the swims would be. There were plenty of trees with overhanging branches, so up I climbed with my mini binoculars to have a look around. I know you're probably already seeing the outcome, but before the branch snapped and I fell with an almighty splash into the river, the funny part was that I was wearing my chest waders, and as the branch snapped, my straps caught on another branch and I was left dangling over the river for a couple of seconds. Just imagine this guy, doing, doing, doing. I must have looked really funny swinging there in my bright green waders. Then with another crack, that branch gave way and I dropped into the river with an almighty splash. The poor fish must have thought they were being bombed into submission, as I'm not a small guy. I managed to struggle to the bank, where I proceeded to strip off my waders to empty the river water from them, and was left on the bank sitting there for a while in my underwear and a t-shirt. Pouring the water out of my waders, I caught sight of movement. A tiny roach fish flopped out onto the bank, and by the look on its face was as surprised as me as being caught this way. The final laugh came when a couple of passers-by saw me getting back into my waders and exclaimed, "You would think you would have got changed at home." Hope my little adventure gave you a laugh. Love the videos, keep up the good work. Well, I certainly will, Mike. I appreciate that, dude. And very, very well done on winning the competition. So come tomorrow, I will bag all this up and send it all off to you, and hopefully that all arrives nicely, because obviously some of the floats are a little bit fragile, but I'll find some bubble wrap, I'm sure, somewhere, and they'll be on their way up to you in Derby. So well done, Mike. Thank you all for your entries, and with that I'll say tight lines, everybody, and look forward to you again on my channel. As I should really say, shouldn't I? Plug, press the subscribe button. There you go, it's a little last bit. Thanks very much again, and see you again on The Novice Angler.